And then Baron had just walked back in through the front door, much to the confusion of the rest of the party, who was standing down on the bottom floor of this tower, post double booby trapped entrance. And y'all had seen him kind of rise on the pedestal that had been raised several floors up. And again, now he strolls in through the front door. I think that's where we left off.
Yeah,
pretty
we
much.
need to have a talk with this guy about his booby traps.
Yeah, I'm still pissed about the lightning strike and dragon.
Yeah, the dragon.
There was a dragon. Yeah.
Like, all I wanted to do was knock and say hello, and this dude strikes me with lightning.
Yep.
Was it the dude or was it the building?
He enchanted the building.
Well, we assume he did. Maybe this was all left over from the previous owner.
Druid ain't that smart.
So that's where we left off. Like I said, Baron walks right back in through the front door after they watched him go up. So everyone will kind of turn to him.
I think he did tell us there's an invisible vampire up in the bed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He told us too.
Yeah, I definitely said that.
I forgot about that.
I had forgotten about that too.
Definitely not hiding under the bed, but definitely, yeah. Invisible.
Yeah, there's an invisible vampire up there. We gotta go kill it.
It's definitely a three-headed invisible ultra vampire on the bed.
Yeah, hiding on the bed.
Yeah.
Definitely not a scared person.
However, I will say, once you get on this elevator, don't stop until you get to the top.
What were the other rooms about?
It's kind of freaky and like moldy, musty, kind of shit you don't probably want to be around.
Was there any carrot traps? You know, those stuff.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. I didn't see any traps.
Wait, we can go talk to this guy on the top. You said that thing went straight up to the top, huh?
Yep.
How many people can fit on it if we look at it?
It didn't stop until I got off of it. If we look at it,
I know I can fit on it.
I'll put.
I'm going to get on it.
I'll put Porky on my shoulders. I can hold him.
Wait, don't we still have the chick with us, Ariana or whatever?
Yes.
She
Y'all had
almost killed her.
She tried to die.
Yeah, she was in a healthy bit back with Jack when or whoever.
Probably she was
whoever
staying
was.
in a hotel in town somewhere.
Yeah, I think. I guess let me. There I go again, forgetting that we're not on the map. Let me put you back on the map. That'll make it a little easier. There we go. So yeah, she was standing way down here on the left where Jack was originally, because he was, I think, the other one. Her and him avoided the blast that he actually triggered.
All right.
Well, I know I can fit on it. If Baron can fit on it.
I'll try to fit on it.
Is this we can physically all fit on it or no?
It's roughly about 5 feet in diameter. This little pedestal in the middle.
Guys, we're gonna have to get close. Group hug.
I'll tell you what.
Group hug.
I'm not going to be in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not in the middle.
I'll tell you what. I'll let y'all go up there. I'll stay with. Shit, I can't remember her name. What's her name?
Ariana.
Yeah, Irina.
Irina. Yeah.
It's Grande.
I'll tell you what, Baron. I think you'd be more useful in this deal. I will stay behind if you want to go.
No, I completely disagree. Lord Baron commands you to get on that elevator.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord Baron. I will fight to the death.
Just don't make friends with it, okay?
I've done it once before.
Okay, I'm gonna go find her, and I think as soon as y'all step off that elevator, it's gonna come down. So we'll ride it back up. Hopefully, everybody's gonna be copacetic up there.
Well, you could always just take it right back up as soon as it comes back down.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, for sure.
Good trip.
Literally what he just said.
Eric's still looking around on the floor looking for any other clues. He's excited to be in a wizard tower.
Yeah, so I'll go get Irina. Y'all go up. Once it gets back down, I'll come back up.
All right, I guess Jack's going to stay down here with you then for the first
No,
round.
Jack's going up. For sure. He doesn't have to.
Hey, Jack, do you want to go up the first time, or do you want to? They said it's going to come back down twice.
Okay, leave Jack.
Jack's going
I don't
the first time.
What do y'all want to do?
He's coming with us.
Okay.
Well, full all fit. Let's go.
All right. So everyone's going except whom? That was a lot of back and forth.
I'm going.
I guess Ivor and Baron
will
are
get
done.
Irina, and then wait for the platform to come back down.
All right. So Baron is hanging back. Everyone else is going up.
Yep, let's do that.
All right. So everyone kind of gets real close and group hugs. Let me move Baron. Let me move Baron back.
Baron's already made this journey.
Yeah, I would have told him about the journey as far as the levels and say don't get off until you can't go any further.
All right. So the five of you all kind of step up onto the pedestal and hug real tight. Everybody kind of looks at Grim, trying to figure out if that's him or if it's just his axe. It's kind of poking Carrick in the back. And just as soon as y'all kind of bear hug on this pedestal, these statues that are kind of holding the chains begin to pull the chains. And just as y'all watch Baron kind of start to ascend upward, y'all do the same. You see the stone ceiling above you kind of pull to the side in an area that matches the pedestal shape. And y'all kind of rise as Baron kind of disappears out of sight as y'all go through the ceiling. Y'all will reach the second floor, and the stone will kind of floor will, as the pedestal comes up, it kind of pauses for a second, and then it continues to rise as the floor closes beneath y'all, and y'all lose sight completely of Baron. You see everything that Baron kind of described to you, rough and tumble, falling apart, leaning tower of Pisa type thing.
Now, the only caveat, Graham, and I'll ask is if it's still up, but I had burned a detect magic right when we went into the tower. So if it's been less than 10 minutes, it should still be up.
Okay. Yep. All right. So, nothing pings on this floor.
Okay.
And y'all kind of continue to rise. Anybody getting off at Sporting Goods?
Right.
No, I'm going to the ladies' lingerie.
Okay. All right. So y'all continue to rise and reach the third floor. No lingerie. We assume it's got to be. It's got to be. Yeah.
Housewares.
Nothing of note that any of y'all kind of noticed. It all kind of matches the lay of the land that Baron, God shows you how long we've been played. Baron described. Nothing out of the ordinary. You continue to rise, and when you reach the, y'all are all kind of crowded together. This is but as y'all the five of y'all kind of reach there, you notice that this floor is slightly different looking than the rest. It looks, it's not the Ritz, but it definitely looks lived in and not quite as fallen apart. The pedestal stops as y'all are on there. It doesn't rise anymore. It kind of matches the description that Baron had given y'all about the floor he stopped on. At this point, two things will happen. I guess first, the pedestal is going to completely stop, and your detect magic is going to go off, and it is going to ping on this statue over here in the northwest corner.
I'll tell everybody not to get off the pedestal yet, and then kind of look more closely at it. I should be able to determine its school, if any.
Okay. It is, as you kind of take a look at it, as this thing again is kind of pinged your radar, you notice that it's appears to be some type of suit of armor. It's kind of rusted and looks pretty shabby. But as far as let's see here. Well, I don't know what kind of magic this is because it's let's put it this way.
Is it kind of like an enchantment magic?
Yeah. Well, that's what we'll say because it's not telling me exactly what this is. Yeah, let's put it this way. You've encountered something like this before.
Yeah.
Also, point of order, Dro thinks there's a vampire up here, so as soon as we get to this floor, I would use Divine Sense.
All right. And you will use Divine Sense, and nothing will ping for your Divine Sense.
I'll see Druid concentrating, and I'll be like, I think it's the vampire hunter that lives up here.
I'll look at Carrie and be like, I don't smell any vampires. Nothing. I don't smell anything undead here.
And I'll point at the statue and I'll say, guys, nine times out of 10, I'm pretty sure that statue is going to come to life and try and fight us if we mess up in here. So just keep an eye on the statue.
I'm gonna go check the bed to see if there's I'm just gonna go tap the bed with my sword to see if there's anything like just besides sheets in the bed.
If there's sheets on the bed.
Anything besides sheets. Baron said there was a ghost in the bed.
Oh, okay. All right, you will. You'll approach. All right, you will kind of walk over to the bed, Grim. You notice that there appears to be. First off, roll a perception check. Oh yeah. Okay. As you kind of get closer to the bed, you poke around at the bed. You do see sheets. It looks like the bed has been used, but as you kind of stand there, kind of looking at it, you're low enough to the ground, and you notice that there seems to be an extremely bad smell that is kind of emanating from this footlocker at the end of the bed.
Yeah.
We'll walk over to the footlocker, and does it appear to be locked?
It does not appear to be locked.
I will lift the lid up with my sword.
Okay. You will carefully use your sword to kind of pry open, kind of staying in a healthy setback, arms length. And as you kind of break the seal, as soon as it opens, that smell is 10 times worse. And again, as you do that, you see what appears to be a severed human head inside the chest.
Drew, your lunch is in here.
I'll walk over there and be like, wait, what?
And you don't what you eat?
I'll be like, I didn't order lunch. Hold on.
All right, real quick, I want to. Grim went over there and did that. Is everyone else still standing on the pedestal?
No, I'm off of it.
Okay. Carrot, are you still standing on the pedestal?
No, I'll step off. I'll
Okay.
probably, honestly, being Carrick, would have made my way towards the desk.
Gotcha. Okay, then we'll just kind of say Jack followed suit. So, point of order on that. As y'all step off of the pedestal, that is when it begins to descend.
Okay.
and y'all will kind of see the floor close, and you'll be able to hear these chains moving as it lowers. So as y'all are kind of like taking a perusal of the room, and Grim is kind of checking out this chest, Baron is going to hear that telltale sign of that's getting louder, that he knows is that this elevator is coming down, this stone pedestal is coming down. So in maybe about 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to see this thing slowly descend out of the ceiling of your bottom floor, Baron, as you stand there with Irina.
Do I do that now? Like, because I want to badge them. If I know that the pedestal's coming down, I would like to badge them.
Okay.
I'll badge them and say, "Did y'all see the vampire?"
I guess no vampires yet. We're still looking.
Okay.
No.
We're out of there.
Baron was the party, is what he said.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, y'all can all hear the badge.
Yeah, that was.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't have a badge.
Yeah. Well.
Drew just sees us talking to each other.
Here's a question: is there any possible chance whoever's in the room with the party could crack the door?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he didn't have a door there. He's wanting to blow that wall out, but I think he needs to put a door in it.
Definitely a lot of talking. It's making it hard to concentrate.
Yeah, he's going to take care of that.
I thought it was coming for him because his microphone, but it was hard to kind of, like you said, concentrate or hear everything.
Yeah, she could probably go talk on that phone at any point anywhere else.
While he's gone, I'll look at Carrick and be like, hey, should I smash this suit of armor?
Has it moved since we?
It has not.
I mean, maybe just keep an eye on it. If you attack it, it'll probably come to life and strangle you like a chest. Trust me.
I'll watch it. And I'll stand in front of the statue like 5 feet away, 6 feet away, social distancing, and watch it.
And now, while we're doing that, I'm going to ask a very important question that you cannot don't go back on it, Carrick. Where is R2?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember. I assume she would have been near my shoulder downstairs. I don't remember the last thing I did with her.
This one? All right.
I honestly don't remember. I let's just say she's in the room with me.
Okay. All right. And Grim, like I said, you.
I'm over here contemplating what I'm about to do with this head. And was Daruk coming over here, or was he staying in front of?
I'm standing in front of the statue watching.
Yeah, he was debating with Carrick the finer points of look but don't touch.
Okay, I'm gonna stay here and investigate this, but I'll let them go ahead and do what they're gonna do.
Baron, were you hopping on the pedestal with Irina?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Carrick badges back down to Baron real quick and says, "Hey, Baron, how did you know somebody was up here again?"
I have like wicked mad perception.
Yeah, but you didn't see him, right? Brandon's asking now. I mean,
no, I asked a specific question. Is I heard somebody.
Yeah.
And I was told they were in that area. I just assumed they were invisible, which it didn't cross my mind they could be under the bed. And that's what was said during. That's what was said during the last game. I'm not trying to metagame any of that. That's what was already said. But I told in character, I said, I think there's a vampire that's invisible on the bed.
That's totally what you said. I remember that.
Yeah. So.
All right, I won't metagame too much then. But I guess since we think there's something invisible in the room and nothing lit up on the deck, I would just kind of look around the room and see if somebody's here.
And I would say, I already told you I don't smell anything undead.
There's something in here you should smell. I'm pretty sure it's dead, though.
And Eric, what did you say you were doing?
I would just, if I could, like, let R2 just kind of look around the room and see if she sees or hears anything. Since we established she's in the room with me.
All right.
And my freaking mouse just died. Dadgummit. I'm stuck on the wrong screen. All right, give me 1 second to get some new battery.
While he gets batteries, can I inspect the head?
Absolutely. I would expect anything less of Griff.
I'll walk up to it and poke it with a sword to see if it moves.
All right. As you kind of poke on it, you notice that it kind of has a like this waxy, oily complexion, like it's been embalmed with something. It doesn't move, but
does it have long hair, short hair? Does it look like a human or elf?
It is a human head, and it's got some of the like kind of rotted jewelry like on ears and like in the nose that you would recognize at this point as things similar to what the Vistani wore.
The gypsy people?
Yeah, the gypsy people.
Okay. I'm going to grab the head by the hair and walk over to the bed and shake. Do pillows have pillowcases in this time? Let's say they do. I'm going to shake the pillow out of the pillowcase and put the head in the bag.
Okay. All right.
And be like, guys, and then we'll walk over and just do another cursory search or secondary search of the chest where the head was. To see if there's anything I missed.
All right. Let's see here.
That head was distracting you, say?
What's that?
The head was distracting you?
Nah, I had to put it in a bag.
All right. You don't see anything that looks of note. I mean, there were some old, clothing items, rotted pieces of stuff. Again, it doesn't look like something that was holding anything of value, since it was also containing a severed head. And they don't let the veggies and the raw meat touch type thing.
I understand. Did that head look decayed or recently deceased, or?
No, it looks like I said, it looks like it's been embalmed, like it's been preserved for what reason you can't tell, but it definitely hasn't been left to rot.
Okay, so hard to tell the time of death, but it has been.
It's been cared for. It's been cared for.
Okay.
Right. And
eaten by a chest or head yet, so.
Baron is gradually rising with Irene up the pedestal. Carrick, you said you had gone to the desk and kind of were looking through the desk.
Yeah, I'll rummage the desk first. Maybe check it for traps before I touch anything.
Okay. Go ahead and what kind of traps are we checking? Are we doing investigation? Or are we doing arcana?
Well,
you've already done detect magic, so nothing pinged on that you could tell. But I just wanted to give you the option.
I guess just regular then.
All right, go ahead and roll for investigation.
Magic. Ooh, solid roll. 18 plus 11 is a 29.
All right. You don't see anything that appears to be trapped. You give the desk a really good once over.
Yep.
There's all kinds of papers and things, drawings, some things that appear to be ramblings of acts that this particular person wants to employ for the carnival and things like that. But with that particular role, you will find you don't see anything really great of note on the desk, but you did such a thorough job of searching the desk. You find what appears to be one of the drawers that appears to be have a false bottom. and you are able to kind of recognize it, and you kind of are able to see the small, what appears to be the small latch embedded on the inside frame of it that would release the false bottom.
Yes, please. I would like to open it.
Okay. You will click that, and this false bottom of the drawer will pop open, and in it you will see what appears to be a small, tattered book.
Okay, yeah. Anything written on it that I can understand or recognize?
Oh yeah. Well, are you picking it up?
We've come this far. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you need
All right, you'll
one
pick
more
it-
mortal
pick it up.
enemy.
And Ivor's here. Let me refresh.
And TPK.
I just lost Baron. No, there it is.
I was
Yeah.
reconnected.
He'll pop in a second.
Okay. All right. You'll pick it up and know your arm doesn't fall off or anything crazy like that. You actually, yes, it's legible. It appears to be a journal of some sort. It's written in common, and you kind of flip through it. You just spend a few moments kind of flicking through it, and you're able to read the penmanship, and you are able to kind of tell that this appears to be the journal of this particular individual that has made this top floor his room.
The current inhabitant, not the original wizard inhabitant?
Correct. You will, in fact, I'll go ahead and put it in there. Basically, there's lots and lots of pages, but the main part of it that you would obviously, as you flip through it, Carrick being one that's used to reading Cliff Notes in all his years at the library, is able to focus on the important parts, and so you'll recognize this as the journal of Van Richten. It's so. Y'all can read that later now, whatever you want. But that's what you found his journal as you kind of peruse over that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whether he read it all instantly or not, I'm sure Carrick would pocket it.
Yeah. And as you kind of do that, as you kind of are looking at that, you kind of look over at the group and say, "Hey guys, found something interesting." And just as you do that, you look over and you see Grim dropping a head in a pillowcase, and you kind of shake your head. You can't turn your back on these guys for a second. And then also Baron is rising up on the pedestal with Irina, and then you turn back, and Drew's just over there, kind of with one finger poking this suit of armor.
No, I'm keeping my distance.
Well,
I'm just staring at it. I'm
Yeah,
watching. I'm waiting, like sword in hand, ready for it to move.
You're doing the Robert De Niro watching
Yeah.
thing, and Ivor and Jack are just kind of looking at one another, watching all this kind of going on. As you do that, you will hear a voice that says, "Please don't read that."
I'll just say,
I'm still laughing.
hello.
Yeah. He already read it.
Yeah.
Careful with your speed reading.
Yeah. You'll kind of roll. Everybody roll perception.
Ooh, natural 20 for the bird. 19 for me.
All right.
And the bird is a 20.
That's good. Yeah, that's good enough. Between you and Grim and R2, y'all will be able to tell that this voice seems to be emanating from over here, and you'll hear it again. You'll hear it. Please put my journal back and leave.
Since we're here, yeah, to get this guy's help, I will put the book down.
As you kind of put the book down, you will, let's see here. You will hear that voice say, thank you. And if I can find his token, I'll find it in just a moment. There we go.
I love this great picture of like Carrick like literally trying to pocket the book when the voice speaks up. What? Oh.
You will see this strange looking individual that is he's kind of colorfully dressed. He kind of seems to be, upon first appearance, seems to be some type of half elf. Kind of again dressed colorfully, appear in the corner. Obviously, he had been invisible at that point, and he kind of nods and thanks. And again, he doesn't quite understand or know that he's dealing with an academia of millennia that was able to read enough of it, so he doesn't know how much ascertain from his journal. But he simply kind of thanks you for putting it down and says, I don't get too many visitors at all. You were definitely not vampires as you made your way in here, quite uninvited. Might I ask why you have come to this ramshackle tower and invaded my privacy?
I mean,
Hey, speaking of which, I think your cart exploded.
Hey, he goes, he doesn't smile. I'm smiling. He smiles. Yes, I heard. Y'all made quite the noise.
Did you know there was a dragon around here?
He does smile at that one. He goes, the leftover defense mechanisms of a tower once belonged to a wizard. They've served these features have served me well to keep the curious folk away from the tower, but apparently it was not enough to deter you all.
Yeah, I was just wanting to knock and say hello, and I got struck by lightning.
Yeah, we were actually coming just to talk to you, but we got kind of riled up out there.
I wasn't very happy with that one.
He'll look at Jarut and then back at Carrick as y'all kind of interplay, both talking, and he'll kind of nod and says, well, surely you can appreciate if you are all familiar with this land that solicitors and visitors are seldom what they seem in this land, and so most people have to take many precautions to ensure safety.
Did Baron make it up there yet?
Yes, y'all. This all kind of happened as Baron and Irina kind of raised to the top. So y'all are all together.
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell him if we had a fortress, we probably wouldn't have so many defenses.
I don't know where you're from, but I like to greet people who are nice.
He goes. He kind of looks at you and says, "Well, that may be, but where you're from is not the land of Barovia, and." There is no evidence at this point that people are nice or not nice. There is only death and despair in this land, and so most people have to take all manner of precautions. Again, you've yet to answer my question. What brings you to this place?
So, Eric, having read the passage, is not going to completely tell him that he's read the passage, but I'll step forward and say, we understand you know how to kill vampires.
He kind of chuckles at this and says, surely you jest. What would give you any indication that I know anything about that? I am but a meager carnival owner. Former carnival owner, as you blew up my wagon.
I will... oh man, how to play that?
Baron, insight.
Yeah, it's not great. So
No, it's all right. I heard it popping, so I was looking.
Baron's popping off.
I didn't say anything. I'm just trying to judge this dude.
All right. based on the way that he delivered that, Baron would be led to believe that he's not necessarily lying.
Okay. No, that's fine. I just
No,
wanted
yeah,
to-
like I said, I heard somebody make. I was on a different tab. I heard the roll, so yeah. Based on your roll with his, Baron's character would not detect a lie at this point.
Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No, I didn't change his thing. It should have said Rick Tavio, but not that it matters. We know who this is.
Yeah. Van Richten.
Yeah, it's supposed to have a toggle. It's supposed to be his alias, but we know who this is. But it's supposed to say Rick Tavio.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said Baron's character was fooled, but we all know that Brock is not fooled.
No, I have a note saying Vampire Hunter is Rudolph Van Richten.
Yeah.
Just
but yeah, with that, again, he kind of poses that question, and Baron, no alerts go off with Baron as far as detecting lies.
I'll just, if I'm still standing by the book, which I assume I haven't walked anywhere, I'll just tap the book. And,
I'm gonna walk. What is this little gray thing with the wood stove?
What little gray thing? Sorry, I was on a different. It's a desk.
Desk.
Oh, hold on, I can't. This screen. I think it's. Hold on one second.
Oh, it looks like a stove. It's got wood behind it.
That's what it is. I'm zoomed so far out. Yep, that is the. That's the little stove, little area.
I'm gonna walk up while they're having this conversation. I'll walk up to it and slam the pillowcase down and drop the head on top of the stove and be like, so if you're not a vampire hunter, want to have a head, now dump it out, just shake it out.
Oh, no.
Who's this guy?
When that happens, there'll be dead silence as he kind of watches the head roll.
And Carrick will look at the sky, look at the head, and look at Van Richten or whatever his fake name is. Is there a family resemblance going on there?
No, there's no family resemblance.
Okay.
But you do notice that he is he's at a bit of a loss. You can tell he does not know how to respond to this.
What's the matter? Vampire got your tongue?
And that's what he does. He just, there's like the silence, like he doesn't know really what to say. And he'll go, what would he say? I don't really know what he's saying.
You better say something to this.
Yeah, because the Iron Lord's about to get nasty, it looks like.
Yeah.
He's kind of speechless at this point. He does not know. In this case, you can see his gears are turning, like he's trying to figure out a way to spin this in such a way. But with this delay, this quiet moment, kind of stretching, these seconds, what appears to be for forever, you can kind of tell he's mentally wrangling on how to spin this. And he kind of looks at the group and says, "What do you want?"
I'll just step forward, and we're the Iron Lords. We haven't told anybody that yet. We're not from here. Our host, I think is what he called himself, has brought us here against our will.
Yeah.
And we mean to kill him and get out of here. He has attacked my family and my hometown, and he's turned him my brother into a vampire. So
with that, since you phrase it like that, with that, you will kind of see him drop his head, and you'll be able to kind of see a moment where he kind of overcome with emotion. That kind of that statement that you make rings close to home for him. And at this point, Carrick, in real time, Brandon would not have been able to read his entire journal to know, but Carrick would have been in his perusing quickly. He would have seen mention of his son being killed by a vampire. And so again, this statement by Carrick is going to ring close to home with him. And as he does so, you will notice that his appearance changes.
Like physical appearance?
Yes.
Okay.
And
He's a vampire.
you
I
will be-
want to go poke him and make sure he's real.
as his appearance changes, instead of this colorfully dressed half elf looking bardish looking human being, you now see what appears to be a full human, full in age, with kind of a weathered beard, almost like the gunslinger or the Van Helsing hat. And you can kind of tell that he's been able to kind of disguise himself, and he definitely does. He definitely looks battle hardened but at the same time battle weary, and he kind of looks at you all and says, "What hope do you have to defeat this darkness that you speak of?"
Well, did you hear the bell the other day?
So, well, we did technically sort of kill him once, but he came back. That's the problem.
I think what Drew is trying to say is that we have the ability to do it, but we are lacking in apparently some knowledge to make it permanent.
He looks at you and says, the knowledge that you seek, as far as I know, is not of this, is not in this plane. There is information that is needed that without it, there is no hope of defeating Strahd.
When you say this plane, what is there knowledge on another plane?
He kind of looks down. He kind of looks at you all, and again, at this point, again, Carrick has what he said is kind of rung true. He's obviously allowed his true image to kind of manifest itself. So he kind of walks forward and walks over to his desk and takes a seat. And so I would assume giving him not necessarily a wide berth, because I mean, y'all aren't necessarily scared of the guy, but obviously kind of giving him a wide berth as he goes and he sits at his desk and kind of turns his chair to you all and says, hold on one second. All right. Anyway, sorry about that. He said he kind of sits down and looks at you all and says, "What was the question?" My son completely threw me off.
I said, you said the knowledge to make this permanent is not on this plane. I asked if there was knowledge on another plane.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yep. He kind of sits down and he says, the knowledge that you seek is something that we once had in our possession, but it's or within our grasp, but at some point it was lost or some say taken out of this plane, and unfortunately, without that, there's no way to kill Strahd permanently, and with no way to leave this plane without Strahd's permission, those that are here are forever cursed to remain here.
I'm going to reach into my bag and pull out some of the rubbings and transcriptions that I've made of my spell book, specifically the stuff that, I don't understand. And I'm going to lay it on the table in front of him and say, does this information mean anything to you?
When you do that, he is immediately going to sit up, full attention, now you have his full attention. He's going to look at you and say, where did you get this?
I used to have this book.
he is going to say, can you read this?
I've tried. I can read literally every language known to every human being and or elf and or race, and I can't read this.
He goes, he says, lucky for you, I can. And he says, I'm not exactly sure how you came to possess these sketches, but what you hold in your hand is excerpts from the Tome of Strahd, his personal journal.
His personal journal?
Yes.
That sounds about right.
And he says, this stuff that you cannot read is his shorthand.
So how did you learn to read it?
He says it was translated by his sister.
Wait, this dude's got a sister?
Strahd sister?
He nods. He says, yes, she does. And he says,
What's her name?
He says, in order for Strahd to be defeated, the information in his journal is vital, paramount to do that. We have attempted, you may have heard the stories, else you would not even be here, that an attempt was made a little over a year ago to actually destroy him once and for all. And it failed because the one who attempted to lead that charge did not follow the information in the journal.
Oh, Baron's going to say.
So hold on. Is like
Carla
his sister still alive? Is she still here?
Yeah. Carla Jean, come here.
You cut out really bad there. Say it again.
Said is his sister still around?
Yes.
Yeah. Baron's going to say, Carla Jean, come here.
And so he will kind of now seeing this, he is going to let you know that he's going to recognize that this is obviously going a different way than he anticipated it. You can kind of see. I don't want to use the word hope, but you have his full attention, a vested interest from him, and you have started kind of a full open dialogue with this guy.
Yeah, Baron's going to ask Carla.
Carla Jean with his new best friend. Like we're going to be friends here at this desk for a couple hours.
So what we'll do is specifically, instead of going back and forth with questions, we'll pretend that all of these questions are being asked, and he's going to give you the history of what's going on. And so basically, he's going to invite y'all to sit down and make yourself comfortable, and he is going to reiterate how Strahd came to be and why you all are obviously here. He is going to, most of the stuff as far as Strahd's beginnings, you know about the curse, the pact with the Dark Ones, how he became the first vampire several centuries ago, and how over time he has ruled the Valley of Barovia, obviously with an iron undead hand. But over these millennia, he has grown bored, impatient, and so he allows or lures adventurers into his realm to be his playthings. He uses the Vistani to do that. He kind of acknowledges the severed head that Grimm had kind of rolled across the desk. That is a Vistani that he had taken prisoner and killed, but he has kept the head to cast Speak with the Dead on, so that he is able to siphon Vistani information as needed. He is going to talk about, again, how Strahd came to power as far as with his brother and killing his brother. As he kind of gets past the parts that you know, he starts to get into information that was unknown to the group. He mentions that centuries ago, at some point, one of Strahd's people in his under his control or in league with him, a wizard named Kazan. That's who this tower belonged to. Had an apprentice that was also in league with Strahd. And that particular apprentice grew tired or weary of Strahd's evil dominion over the land. And so he decided to attempt to overthrow Strahd. And he did this by fashioning a sword that they believed would kill Strahd permanently. It would be the only thing capable of killing him. And Strahd learned of this, and this apprentice, this wizard, fled before Strahd figured this out in time to actually kill him. When he learned that this sword had been made, he tasked Kazan, this guy's, what do you call it? Not the Padawan, but the Jedi Master, to hunt him down and to kill him and to destroy the sword. When he did so, he found what he believed to be the remains of this wizard in the Zafalich woods, and appeared to have been killed by some of the undead creatures in his attempt to flee the valley. He also found what appeared to be the hilt of the sword. This particular sword that I almost called him Van Helsing, that Van Richten kind of calls it the Sun Sword. And this particular sword is one that was fashioned. Let's see here. It's fashioned with a unique platinum hilt and a thin crystal that emanated as bright as the sun. When Kazan found what he believed to be the remains or the dead body of his apprentice that had stolen and tried to smuggle the sword out of Ravenloft, he found only the hilt. He did not find the crystal blade. And wanting to avoid the vampire's wrath, Kazan told Strahd that the entire weapon had been destroyed. He didn't want to bring that kind of ill news that only the hilt had been found. So he told Strahd that the whole sword had been destroyed. What they did not know at that time was that not only had this apprentice forged the Sun Sword, but he had also stolen Strahd's journal, which was a previously, eons before that, a spell book that he had commandeered from an adventurer that he had, brought to the realm, toyed with, and then killed. And then he fashioned it and began to write and scribe his journal, things about his life and things like that, things about his powers in it. They did not figure that out for a little bit longer. Unfortunately, for Strahd and for Kazan, that was not the body of the apprentice. It was. He actually escaped and was managed to get out of the valley and had the book with him. And this book, his quest at the time had been delayed to destroy Strahd, but he was able to get the journal out of the valley. And with that, he traveled, supposedly, this is what Van Richten tells you, traveled the other, what he calls the other planes, looking for those that would help him come back and destroy Strahd once and for all, because they feared that Strahd would grow tired of the toying with adventures, and he had begun to have a new goal of spreading his darkness not only in the valley but all over Faerun and all of the other planes. Since he can't leave it himself, he was creating as much darkness and undead as he could, and unleashing it and allowing them to leave his plane to run rampant over the other worlds. And So he kind of reaches that point in the story where he then tells you how he came to be, and you'll see that in his journal. And I'll put it out there as far as his bio as well. Where's it at?
So
there is his cast of characters. There we go. Van Richten, show to players. Right. He talks about his son and how you can read that. I won't bore you with it. But basically, the long and short of it is that his son was made a vampire made a vampire spawned by other vampires. He retaliated. They retaliated. Basically, killed his family. Again, that's kind of how he connected when Carrick relayed about his family. And so he decided that this is how he kind of inserts himself into the picture. He made it his goal to not only avenge his family's death, which he did by killing that vampire, but by killing it at the source. And he made it his life's goal to kill whatever it was that spawned these cursed devils. And over many years, he was able to track down the Vistani, again, the group of people that that Strahd allows to leave his realm to lure people back into Barovia. He was able to kind of interject or insert himself into the Vistani and come to Barovia, where he has basically spent the rest of his life learning about Strahd incognito as this Rectavio guy. He's made it his goal to learn all that he can from the Vistani while kind of laying low. And then he kind of catches you back up to about a year ago, or a little over a year ago, when all of this information he's given you, he learned a lot of this from this individual, this wizard who traveled back into Barovia, claiming that he was ready to destroy and had the means to destroy Strahd. And he claimed to have something very similar to what you had, Carrick. He had copies of pages of this journal with the instructions on where Strahd gets his power, how he gets his power, the way to kill him with the sun sword, things like that. And he tried to garner support. Rudolph or Van Richten was one of the ones that pledged his support. He thought that this was the time that this was their best chance to kill him. Unfortunately, this wizard was impatient and felt that the other means to weaken Strahd were unneeded since he had the sun sword, and convinced the crowd of people that he had garnered from the three villages to march on Ravenloft without pursuing the other manners in which to weaken Strahd. And as a result, Strahd easily destroyed them and drove this wizard mad. Last he heard that this wizard was somewhere in the north on the edges of the valley, complete stark raving mad by Strahd's hand. And at that point, Rudolph Van Richten kind of says that's when he kind of lost hope, because the pages were lost. At that point, the sun sword was lost, as far as he believes that the wizard may still have it, but without that, and without the ability to know where exactly to go to weaken Strahd, there's no way to kill him permanently. And so he kind of goes through all of that.
Mad Wizard, this one that led the failed revolt, he had a functioning sun sword. At one point.
Yes, he says that he had a functioning sun sword, which was or what he believes to be the sun sword that was fashioned by this apprentice, by him. He claimed to have been the apprentice. At this point, Carrick would ask, or anybody would ask, what this wizard's name was. The only thing that he would have said was, the only thing that he called himself was the Traveler. And
I will perk up at that.
yeah. And he said that's what he was known as, was the Traveler, because he was the only one that they knew that had come and gone and then come back from the different planes successfully. But so he claimed to have been the apprentice. That's how all this information about the apprentice of Kazan and the smuggling of the sword and the journal out of Barovia. That's how this wizard claimed to know it. He claimed to be that apprentice that had returned. And
it was my dead father that told me to search out the Traveler. Is that right?
That's correct. Carrick at this point would kind of put one and the same together and realize that the chances are probably pretty good that with hearing the name the Traveler in this story, and plus all the other pieces that you've put together, obviously this guy smuggled the journal out and understood its importance, that the original not be destroyed by Strahd or reobtained by Strahd. So he apparently hid it or did something with it to protect it. In this case, obviously, he gave it to your father to protect. And when he returned, he brought, similar to you, copies of the pages with the instructions, as opposed to bringing the original into Barovia.
Yeah, that would just be crazy.
And so, so again, Van Richten kind of explains to you all that that's how he became aware of this information, was by this wizard who claimed to be the Traveler that forged the Sun Sword and had originally smuggled it out, as well as the journal of Strahd. Several of the questions I'm sure would have gone about the way that you mentioned a sister. He is going to say yes. He has a sister. Strahd allegedly doesn't know that he has a sister that is also a vampire. She goes by the name of Madame Eva. She similar to him, incognito, is implanted with the Vistani. And she is, he has met her, he says. In fact, it was the three of them that him, the Traveler, or the Mad Mage at this point, and Madame Eva that had kind of been the holy triumvirate of the three heads that had formed the plan to kill Strahd. However, it was the Traveler who had become impatient, and instead of going through the steps to maybe weaken him, led the assault preemptively. He says that Madame Eva claims to have been the sister of Strahd, not the bastard child, but the illegitimate child of Strahd's father, and that Strahd did not know about her, and that in order, when she saw her brother go mad and become the Dark Lord, she allowed herself to be bitten by one of his spawn so that she could live forever as well, to give herself plenty of time to overthrow his rule. And again, similar to him, she has been living incognito with the Vistani as kind of a seer, a soothsayer, a fortune teller, and said that she is instrumental in destroying Strahd, and that. So let me. There's a whole lot of stuff there, but that's kind of the lay of the land that kind of would connect the dots that lets you know how the book made it to your father, what the book really is, and kind of explains that this Traveler, why the revolt against Strahd failed. Let's see here.
I have a question for him.
Yeah, go ahead while I pull this stuff out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd ask him, so as you've been with the Vistani and you've been researching and learning and all these things, and you've obviously spent quite a amount of time learning about vampires and how to defeat Strahd and all these things. In all your study and all your travels, have you ever heard of someone who is a vampire being cured?
He says, he says the normal vampires. No, I don't know of anyone that, and you can kind of see his head drop. He mentions his son. He kind of tried to figure out a way to cure him. Says but he believes that the vampires that are created by Strahd himself, he believes that that connection with Strahd and that curse would be broken if Strahd is destroyed. He says that his curse, his quote unquote bite, so to speak, is different than the normal spawn, vampire spawn that kind of roam not only Barovia, but that he's unleashed into the world. That a bite from him is kind of a different beast altogether because he's a different beast. He's the original.
So do you think if Strahd turned someone to a vampire and Strahd were dead, that those that were bitten by him would be cured or they would be destroyed?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know the answer to that. He kind of just drops his head and says, "I wish I knew." Let's see here.
After he kind of tells the whole story too, I would just ask Rudolph here. Say, how old are you? How long have you been living here?
He says, I've probably been here 40 years.
40 years. And how long ago do you think it was that the book and the Sun Sword were stolen and disappeared from here?
From my understanding, it was over a millennia ago.
Okay. All right. Just making sure it wasn't like last week. Some crazy time dilation going on. We're going to come out. It'll be 1,000 years later at home. The Iron Lords have taken over the entire of the Minturn Islands. That's known as Iron Lord's Land.
It'd be better than that. We workshop it.
And I guess I'll show him, kind of all of my notes anyway. I don't think I'll reveal the book to him yet, but I'll say, so you can read all of this.
He looks through your pages and he sees just a lot of what would be considered kind of normal journal speak, a lot of egotistical blatherings of a fool that has, thousands of years to kill and nothing good to show for it. He sees bits and pieces that are kind of important that talks about Barovia, and he does talk about, he does get to a specific point that he shows that there is some pages that you happen to have made a copy of that show specifically things that Strahd wrote about his. Let's see here. I've got it. I just got to find it, and I'll make it available. Oh, here first. Let me do this. I guess I can update this now. Let's see. There will be a new little paragraph in just a second under your spell book. So Carrick's spell book is the Tome of Strahd, and then let me find that excerpt real quick. There we go. All right. Yeah. Edit. Duplicate. All right. and put it in the folder.
So the book that taught me magic that I stole from my father was stolen from Strahd, who stole it from some other random wizard originally.
Correct. Yes. Yes. That's basically it. He basically, as it's kind of been told to you numerous times and confirmed by him, over, countless eons, he's toyed with lots of adventures similar to you all that he brings and plays with a water why, and then anything of value that once he offs them, kills them, he keeps. In this particular case, he took a shine to some of the spells in this book and thought it was worth keeping. And over time, it had enough blank pages in it. He just kind of turned it into his own journal, his own book, his kind of spell book, quote, so to speak, where he kind of kept it and wrote in it. And yes, it was. It's changed hands several times, so Carrick shouldn't feel too terribly bad about stealing it. And that's an excerpt of what you are that he kind of reads to you during this time that y'all have been there. So feel free; it should be in there, your journal now. So that talks about his own personal stuff. He does say, he says, I do know that there was mention mention of things that the traveler, the mad mage, whatever you want to call him, had talked to us about places of power, things that would weaken and help destroy Strahd. I don't see any mention of that in your notes.
One more question. So, did you know of this? You spoke of the failed attempt and of things that were needed to do to weaken Strahd. Do you remember what those things were?
He says, I vaguely remember in that that was something that the traveler, again, he kept the pages. He showed us to him. He showed us the shorthand. His sister helped transcribe it for us, and showed us basically the cipher, the way to read his shorthand. But as far as the things that would help destroy him, make him weaker, I have vague recollections of what they were and where they were at, because we did not pursue them before we could kind of plan a strategic method in which to neuter his power. That was when the Mad Mage, the Traveler, became exhausted with our attempts to delay the attack and marched on Ravenloft himself. So again, I don't see mention of it in your notes. I would have to. You're missing the valuable pages that would kind of talk about those things. Help. Okay, well, you can tell me later. I'll be there in a minute. But anyway, so. Hey, anyway, sorry. He mentions, he says that the only thing I really remember again is Strahd at some point, knowing once he had kind of first exerted his power in the valley, he began taking every effort, even though he's immortal. The power was new to him. And so he did not quite fully understand just how indestructible he was. And so he tried to take all the steps or provisions that he could to strengthen his power and his hold on Barovia. So he mentions something called Thanes. He says there were several ancient shrines and places of power that Strahd erected or empowered that he shares a connection with. That give him, I mean, he already has the power of immortality, but untold power that he is able to wield that makes him, not only is he immortal, but even indestructible. So that or were he to accidentally lure the wrong person, wrong group, wrong adventurer here, such as the traveler or some great mage or wizard, he would not have to fear that type of person. And so he says, but again, that's what I remember is something called the Fanes.
I'd say I think I might know what you're talking about. We did burn this one house down that keeps building itself back up, but we trapped a piece of it in a basement. See what happens there.
he kind of looks at you and says, "Well, that's not the strangest thing I've heard or seen in my 40 years here." He said, but he says, I would have to know, I would have to see more of his notes in order to do that, to be able to tell you exactly what these Fanes are.
So it sounds like we need to go find this mad mage and see if he still has that sword. Maybe that's the first step.
He says the sword will be useless to you if you don't weaken Strahd.
Well, you said he's the one that knows those steps as well.
Let's see here. Well,
I mean, yeah, I'll just say it seems a little odd that this guy's kind of like a mortal enemy of yours and you don't remember anything about how to weaken him. I feel like that's something I would remember.
Well, he tells you, he says, I do know how to weaken him. Like I said, I mentioned that there's something called the Fanes. As far as the specific what needs to be done, I was not privy to that.
You weren't privy to it. Okay.
Like I said, before we could kind of formulate a way to take him down using this information to weaken him, these Fanes, that was when the traveler marched on Ravenloft. So, like I said, I just know what he mentioned, that there are places of power, things of power that Strahd draws his abilities from. And were he to lose his connection to those, it would make him more susceptible to attack. And that was why the attack on Ravenloft failed over a year ago. At least that's what I believe.
So are you still like on good terms with this mage?
Oh no, there's no good terms with him. He's stark raving mad, cursed by Strahd. That was his penalty. He could have killed him, but instead he drove him mad and placed a curse on him. And any that have even remotely crossed the lake and headed to his tower have been disintegrated, destroyed. He is not one that you can even hold a conversation with. The lands that he lives in are cursed, and he has cursed it himself as well.
Okay, so you're going first when we go to see him, then, right?
he says I will join your cause, but I only do so if we would if we I've hitched my wagon to something like that before, and he kind of recounts what happened to with this traveler, and he says, I placed my hopes, I hitched my wagon to that star, and the guy lost his patience and screwed. Up until now, until seeing these notes, I thought destroyed our only chance at destroying Strahd.
If you had the right pages, could you read these pages?
I believe so.
I'll just kind of look around the room and kind of nod at everybody and pull out the book and set it on the table.
He'll be as close to as when he was speechless with the head rolling across the stove. He'll be even more speechless at this point, and he will kind of see this and say, "Is that what I believe it to be?"
And I'll say, "No, it's not. It's actually just a replica that we made a copy of."
Before he does that, I know my enemy.
Okay. All right. What do you want to do?
His total character level, above or below ours? 11.
It is above yours.
Constitution above or below That's going to be above. That doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It'll be
what,
constitute 16,
oh,
above 16 or below 16.
I don't know, let me find his sheet. I just know HP wise and stuff, he was way ahead.
Yeah. I figured I didn't want to ask HP if he was above our character level.
What'd you say for his con, higher or lower than 16?
Yeah.
Higher.
Yeah. So he's gonna be.
So he's like a real deal then.
Mm-hmm.
Baron would know. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, Baron will get this this feeling that this guy is definitely a battle hardened fighter. He will kind of look at you as you've done this, and then he'll kind of reach his hand out and then kind of look at you and say, "May I?"
Yes.
All right. Yeah, he will go and he will very carefully begin to page through the book, and you'll kind of see his eyes get huge as he kind of sees this shorthand and all this, and he will begin to read, and he will spend maybe about 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes just in silence, flipping and reading. You can kind of see him scanning the pages. He's obviously not as fast a reader as Carrick is. And as he does that, he will sit, kind of scoot his chair back and look up at you, and he says, we may have a problem. And he will say, I see here why the traveler may have been impatient. These fanes that empower Strahd, they are spread out, and I have no doubt that were his connection with one of these fanes severed, he would immediately know, and he would descend hell itself upon that area or any of the other fanes to protect them. And I see, I have no idea how this could be done unless, and then he continues to read. He kind of scoots back and then he goes back for a few moments and reads. He says, the only way I could see even tackling a few of these fanes is that he would have to be, from my understanding, you mentioned the bells ringing. Yes, I did hear. You are not the first ones to cause the bells to ring. The traveler had made mention of that as well, the Mad Mage, that if one of his toys that he brings to the land actually bests him in one of his battles, and he kind of does, the Barovian version of air quotes as far as bests him. He says that is, I believe, when Strahd is at his weakest, because he has to regenerate in his tomb, in his coffin in Castle Ravenloft, and that is when his senses or his connection with what's going on in the world is lost for at least a short bit of time. That would give us a very small window to sever the connections of these fanes. And he goes on to describe the fanes.
Yeah, how many? Oh, here we go.
He describes them again as ancient temples and shrines. They, again, Strahd's immortal, but these things are places that he's harnessed dark powers that kind of give him additional power and give him abilities well beyond what he should have. And these are kind of documented in the journal, and there's 4 of them. And he says, as to what powers or what they do, it does not mention, but these are the locations that he's kind of documented that he spent many times visiting and treating continuous power from the darkness. And he says severing one or all of these would have to be done in tandem. Because again, the moment a connection is lost to one of them, he's going to know. If he's been recently defeated, we might have a small window of time you stop, and as he stops talking, you kind of see him kind of do the looking up, kind of thinking. He says, if I'm not mistaken, I heard the bells maybe 2 days ago, give or take. How long until you saw Strahd again?
Was it? I mean,
Like the next day?
was it the next day?
It was the next day. It was later in the day. Y'all expected to see him again in in the tavern that following morning, but instead y'all encountered him on the road. Y'all kind of relay that to him. He says that would give us maybe a day, if that. If he's not, that might have just been when he decided to visit with you. I don't really know. I hate to make a promise, but we would have some time. But how much, I don't know. We would have to.
What time of day did we kill him?
Y'all killed him in the morning. Y'all came down and he was waiting at the table.
So we can say that we have less than 36 hours ish.
Correct.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, you're saying we need to fight him again, kill him, and while he's down, also have people at all 4 locations to destroy all 4 locations before he wakes back up.
He says, from the long and short form I'm seeing, this is the first time I've kind of been able to read like all of this again, because the traveler didn't give us everything. But he kind of nods to Drew in agreement. He says that's kind of what I'm understanding as I read this as well, is that he has to be weakened so that a coordinated attack on the Thanes can be engineered. And whether we decide to sever multiple or all of these connections with these shrines, it would have to be done very close to one another in order to weaken him fully, and then we would have to march on Ravenloft and kill. And then that's when he goes, and then that's when the Sun Sword would be needed to be driven through his heart in his resting place.
Sounds like we're going to need a lot more people.
Here's a hypothetical question.
Tom.
And you might not know the answer now, but maybe if you read a little more, you will. Let's say we kill him again, and while he's down, we get 1 or 2 of these Fanes. Do you think when he comes back, he would sense their absence?
I believe so. He says he spent untold centuries cultivating their power. I believe that he would know when his connection with that power has been severed.
Do you think we have to get them all?
I can tell you that none of them did not work.
More than none.
Yeah, he kind of the closest to a smile you've seen from him. He goes, yes, more than none. As to what they do, I don't know. I just know that it appears by his shorthand, each one gives him some specific type of dark power or immunity. And of course, at this point, everybody's bells would be going off because he's been fought twice, and y'all remember that it takes literally a Faerun version of a tank to make contact with him.
Oh yeah, that's true. One of these things is protecting him, huh?
And you'll remember the glint.
That's the shimmer.
Yeah, the shimmer. That's exactly right. So one of these obviously is providing tremendous defensive powers for Strahd.
Side note: could you imagine fighting him and him not having a 29 AC? 28.
It would make a difference. It would make a difference.
Yeah, he'd go down in like 1 round.
Yeah, I don't think I've landed a single physical blow against him yet.
Yeah.
So, but he does again.
You have a map. Can you point?
Yeah, there you go. Again, what's the physical relation on these things?
All right, let's go to the map.
Because I don't think we have very much quick travel available.
Here.
Let's see here. All right, are y'all on the map?
Yeah.
Has he ever been to any of these places?
Yes. I mean, he's been here for 40 years. He's traveled. He can give you. He's going to be able to give you an idea of where these places are at.
Not where, but what?
Oh no, he doesn't. He can maybe tell you a little bit about them, but he hasn't been in them.
Well, let's circle it on the map. Your dirty little dick beater.
Yep. Let's see here. All right. So the first one, the Mountain Fane, would be the Amber Temple, and I'm gonna let y'all. Actually, I can probably put that on the.
You can annotate it. You know,
Yeah. Let's see here.
Or just circle it.
So that's X. All right. Are y'all on the
big map in the words?
All right. All right. Let me zoom out because I'm way. It's a big map. All right. So y'all are currently here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a. There we go. All right. Heck, where's? Help me find X. Where the heck is? There it is. Okay. The Amber Temple is down here. So I'm gonna put a. How do you draw a circle? I guess I can just. I hadn't played with this map in a while. There we go. Draw shape. There we go. Text. Here we go. All right. So X is down here. We're gonna need a bigger font than that. All right. All right. Holy crap! Why did I do it so small?
The map so huge.
Yeah, the map's just massive.
Okay, there's got to be an easier way to do that.
Like
Can you draw shape, draw freehand?
That's what I'm about to do now. I'm about to try to. Did that show up?
Yes.
Okay, that's the Amber Temple down there.
The red square?
Yeah.
I'll see if I can annotate it. Something bigger.
Yeah, I'll let you figure that out. All right, so that down there is the Amber Temple. That's the Mountain Fane. The next one is the Ruins of Berez. That is U, which is right. Where's the U? God bless. Let me look at the other one because that's hard to see.
I also noticed there's a green box that sort of blends in with the background.
Oh, that was me. I tried to delete it.
Okay, it's right there. Okay. All right. So here is the Perez right there. That second block.
Oh, you don't like that. Here's one.
The Yester Hill is right there. You just put an X on it.
I was right.
And
I was trying to guess.
The Death Fane is in the village of Barovia, which you know where that is. I put a box around it.
The Death Fane is, that's the
Death House.
Please, here. I need this read a page. I'm not calling everybody tomorrow.
And then, of course, the Mad Mage is. I'll put a box up here in the north.
So, okay. I mean, we got to go seek out this Mad Mage to get the sword, but then I guess we'll have to figure out. I mean, we're going to have to draw Strahd out, which apparently is not going to be an issue because he likes to come to us. But we're going to have to kill him. And then that same day, we're going to have to travel to as many of these places as we can.
Correct. And then during all that conversation, another thing he mentions the sun sword that was fashioned, and it's going to have to be activated. And
We don't know how to activate it, do we?
in order to activate it, you're going to need the blood of Strahd.
And we also don't know how to destroy all these fanes, correct? Because like we burned down the death house, but it's coming back.
He says, I don't, there's nothing in here on how to destroy it. Obviously, he's not going to put in here how to destroy his own toys.
I think we have to destroy it while he's dead.
But he thinks that whatever power that he is connected to there, if either the monument or the he believes maybe there are some potential creatures or powers or apparitions there. If whatever power is there is defeated or severed or destroyed, that should sever the connection.
I was gonna say we did burn the house down while he was dead. It was like one of the first things we did after he died.
Actually, that's true, but it still came back. But we didn't go in the house. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Someone peeked through the front door, and I think that was Graham.
Yeah.
He set it on fire.
He says, in order to activate the sun sword, you'll need the blood of Strahd, which obviously he's not going to freely give you. What we did, we used the blood of Madame Eva, as she is his blood. And so to find her, you will need to find, she has embedded herself with the Vistani, so look for a large Vistani camp or traveling band of Vistani. She will probably most likely be with them. But that will obviously present a challenge in of itself, because the Vistani serve Strahd and they don't know about her true identity. So you are well known at this point. So
she's hiding with the Vistani, but she is also against Strahd?
Correct.
Yeah, I think we've already seen her once before.
Correct.
Oh, was she in that party that we skirted?
Yep.
Yeah.
So currently we know where she's at. Well, yesterday we knew where she was at.
Correct. You will need, that's what they used when the three of them were at least preemptively trying to do things, get things ready. Her blood was able to activate.
Okay, but logistically though, if we're fighting Strahd, we have to kill him at least once before we can try and permanently kill him. Like, couldn't we just get his blood then?
He looks at you and says, I don't know. We didn't face him then. We didn't do anything. We activated the sun sword using Madame Eva, and then the traveler decided it was time. We did not go to any of the. We didn't even have a chance to research or try to find anything find out about the Fanes.
And if we just give Baron the sun sword, let him, just slash around on Strahd, maybe we can get some blood on it.
Any sword, right?
Yeah,
if you use the sun sword, just let the slashes activate it.
This is all a question for the man mage that can answer it, but like once we activate the sun sword, like how long does it stay on?
If it deactivated,
until you quit paying the bill, I guess.
That's right. I mean, this is like a prepaid card. We got to load it up.
So what you're telling me is we need vials of blood to just keep pouring on it.
That's he says that would definitely be a Mad Maid or a Madame Eva question. But he says I have confidence that at least if we are able to sever these connections, that we would stand at least a greater chance of success than those that went before us.
So the plan is now kill Strahd, and then immediately start whacking away at these temples that we don't know anything about, and after that, we march on Ravenloft, and then we have to find Strahd's lair and stab him in the heart with the sun sword.
While he's resting, yes, while he's in his lair. So in order to do that, you would have to either catch him in his lair or destroy him, and as he retreats and regenerates in his coffin in his lair, then drive the sun sword through his heart.
Personally, at this point, I kind of want to kill him and then destroy as many of these things as we can, and then let him come back. Just so he can feel powerless. That's Eric's plan, but
Y'all can do whatever y'all want. But like I said, he's kind of relayed everything that he can. There's more stuff that he can glean from it. He'll let you know. But he has told you that he believes that this is only if you swear to him that you will not chase the fool's errand, a foolish errand of trying to march on Castle Ravenloft without at least trying to take some steps to weaken him, that he will join your cause.
I got a question. You met Madame Eva?
He says yes.
Do you have any of her personal possessions? Anything?
He says yes.
What do you have?
He pulls out. Funny that you asked that.
pennies.
No.
He pulls out a crest that appears to have Castle Ravenloft in the background, and he hands it to you, Grim.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that he believes that this crest was a pin that actually belonged to Strahd himself, and that Madame Eva came into possession of it. How, he's not sure. You would have to ask her. But she gave it to him to keep safe and to pass on to someone that he saw as an ally, as a friend that would actually be able to help the cause. And that he said that if you approach Madame Eva, this is how you will let her know that you have met with me and that your goal is the same as hers.
But I mean,
we're gonna need that.
Just talk to her for it.
Yeah, he hands it to you. And he has, like I said, if y'all agree to again use a bit better judgment than the last person that tried to take Strahd down, he agrees to join you. So I assume y'all agree to do that.
Yep.
100%.
But he is now in your companions. Your party is now 8.
Nice. So do we really need the cursed half person? Vampire spawn. Oh, that's his new love interest, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's up to you. That's just.
I think she needs to kind of just hang in the background for maybe safekeeping.
Oh Lord. Darut is going to be good friends with this guy. Look at his ideal.
Yeah. Oh, and his bond too.
Yeah.
It's like my big thing is like protecting people.
There you go. You got a new friend. All right, and since he's in our party, I mean, I guess at some point we would ask, kind of what his special abilities are as a fighter, what type of adventurer he might be.
He is an expert. I'll tell you his abilities. Let's see, yeah, y'all would kind of want to know who's kind of joining your party, whether they can handle themselves or not. Let me find his sheet. Where the heck? Oh, there it is.
Find out pretty quick.
Yeah, he's definitely a monster slayer. He is particularly adept at attacking or battling undead or fiend creatures.
Well, shooting Druid all over.
He is a spellcaster, and he is able to cast several clerical spells.
And apparently disguise self.
Yeah, he is able to disguise. His hat that he's wearing gives him the ability to cast disguise self at will. He has a ring of mind shielding, and that is how he has avoided Strahd's. Because he kind of also lets you know, by the way, obviously he's a vampire hunter, and helping lead that Strahd has been looking for him. That's why he's had to kind of remain incognito. he says that so that's how he protects his mind. He can cast spells such as magic circle, speak with the dead, dispel good and evil, lesser restoration, cure wounds, things like that. He is a pretty adept fighter that gets several attacks, and also has his cane that he has is, as he kind of shows you, it's silvered, so it does additional damage if he wields it as that. And he gets some bonuses when he attacks undead or fiends. And he is yep. Let's see here. He is. I mean, his hit points are 127.
Hmm.
I like him already.
So
Yeah, between Groot and Grimm, he's got some new friends. Carrick loves him because he can read his book. Man, this guy like.
all right. So yeah, he kind of y'all been there at this point several hours, and he says that as long as there are no objections from you all, he would like to join you on your travels now. Because once y'all start kicking these hornets' nests, he believes that Strahd's full weight and measure will be brought not only on the land, but searching y'all out and him out, and he would like to be in y'all's company.
Hey, speaking of which, do you know anything about this damn fog?
Oh yeah, he says at this point, if you hadn't figured it out, you're not going anywhere.
Well, yeah, but like it just shows up and we can't get away from it.
Oh yeah, it's just Strahd controls it.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you had any cool tricks after 40 years of dealing with it.
My cool trick is I stay away from it.
Buddy, it seems to be all the way around us when it appears when it comes after us.
Yeah, he says once Strahd knows where you again, he has eyes and ears everywhere, not only with the undead creatures and the creatures of the forest, but some of his innate power. He's able to kind of keep tabs on people that he knows that is there once he knows where you're at. And so, yeah, he'll definitely hone in on your location with the fog if he has reason to want to keep you in an area, which is all the more problem, or which is all the more reason and problematic. Once you start severing the fanes, if he knows where you're at, he is going to try to corral you.
So we should stay away from those things as long as he is alive. As
long as he is at full power, yes.
And I'm just talking out loud, but y'all could correct me if my understanding is wrong. But it sounds like our first step should either be to get in touch with his half sister or go find the Mad Mage and steal his sword.
Yeah. Hey, another question. Have you met the Mad Mage?
Oh yeah, he was the traveler. He was the one that led that is the apprentice that forged the sword and smuggled the journal out, hundreds of years ago.
Do you happen to have any of his belongings? Like you had some of her stuff?
He says no. I don't have anything of his.
He didn't give you any of the cane or any of that?
He goes, no. He says the only thing that he did for me was he is the one that placed these protections and these spells on the tower.
Oh, so he's an asshole. All right.
Yeah, so I definitely got to speak to him.
He says he did that to protect me, obviously, while we were.
Hey, since you're in our party now, is there anything else in this tower that's worth exploring, or is it dangerous in any way?
Don't touch the suit of armor.
Drake was like inches away from it earlier when he.
Now that y'all are kind of talking about that, says and he says, again, I apologize, but you surely understand the precautions that I have to take. I had to booby trap my own wagon from people messing with it.
There wasn't anything fancy in there.
No, just the pictures of my wife and children that are dead.
Yeah, they're gone now.
And he says,
Jerick will touch him on the chest and say, "They live forever in your heart."
Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you have the ability to locate objects or people?
let's see here.
Hey, as he was listing his abilities for us, I guess Grim especially would have noticed that he had some cleric spells. I wonder, not to speak for Grim, but I wonder what god he serves. Because don't clerics all serve a specific god?
They do, but we're going to get there as soon as he figures out if he can locate people.
That is not in his wheelhouse. Let's see. I'll tell you what he's got.
Call
He's
yourself
got
a hunter.
He's got guidance, mending, light, thaumaturgy, cure wounds, detect good and evil, protection from good and evil, sanctuary, augury,
Okay.
lesser restoration, protection from poison, magic circle, remove curse, speak with dead, death ward, freedom of movement, and dispel evil and good.
I'll take Death Ward anytime he wants to give it.
I'll take Sanctuary for 500 Alice.
Oh, and he does have a spell scroll. That's what I was looking for. Spell scroll. He carries a spell scroll for raise dead.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't think I could use that.
I can use it, but no, it's a cleric only spell.
But you can use it without using a
Spell slot, yeah.
slot or without having it prepared.
Right. Or he can use it.
Shoot, Jack could use it.
Yeah, Jack can use it as well. All right. I've got some ideas for what we can do, but we just need to figure out where we want to go next.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get our hands on the sun sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like swords.
We need to find the sister.
You want to go for the sword first, since he's already out there in the wild and nobody cares about him. If we go tip our hand to Arena, we might get found out, and the Vistani might know what we're up to, and yada yada yada. So I think maybe going after the mage and the sword first is probably the safest idea.
Hey, well, this sun sword, you said it was in pieces? The hilt was in the mage's possession?
He said, yeah, basically that the sword itself that he fashioned was two pieces. It required the hilt, which was a platinum hilt and guard, and then there was a crystal blade that was as strong as steel that emanated almost like the light of the sun.
He has both parts of it, correct?
He believes that he has both parts of it.
You have zero parts of it.
He says, "No, I wish I did."
Okay.
It's a crystal would be a Kyber crystal with
Change his color.
And you don't have any items or articles that are related to Strahd other than this emblem that your sister gave you that was hers?
Well, if you read the note, it was his and then hers.
Yeah, then hers. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it was, but beyond that, that's what you have.
Yeah, he said that's all that I have.
I guess since we're all buddy and we're not in any hurry, once I see the emblem, I would, if they'll let me, take a minute and cast Identify on it, see if it has any special powers.
Yeah, go for it. I have other plans for it, but yeah.
All right. As far as let's see, special. Let me click on it. Notes. No, nothing special besides. I mean, what would it do? What would it tell you?
Identify. Here, I'll throw it on the screen. It tells me if it's magic and how to use it, and hold on, here it is. If the spell is magic or some other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use it, whether it requires attunement, how many charges it has, yada yada. You learn any spells affecting the item and what they are. So I guess if something is like it has a, some kind of spell on it, I would learn what that spell is.
It does have a magical, I guess, property. The property itself would be it would lend itself to believe or to prove what kind of he says that it obviously is. It's got to be used. It's something that's got a magical property on it that will help activate the Sun Sword, I guess. So it's been enchanted, I guess, utilizing Strahd's blood. As far as like giving any special abilities or having anything like that, it's
part of the key to open the sword.
Correct. Yes. It is what's used to activate the Sun Sword utilizing Strahd's blood. It basically, that's kind of the way that you the crest, almost kind of like something borrowed, something blue. Having his blood and having a possession of his, like, attunes the sword to kill a specific creature, type thing. Basically, imprints his name on the bullet.
It's kind of like a double key system for nuclear launch codes.
Yeah.
Gotta have them both.
Yeah.
So that's
basically it makes sure that the Sun Sword is the bullet with his name on it.
Okay. Well, cool. I think we finally have some direction, boys. The book's been read. What literally Carrick tried to do in the very first episode, 28 episodes ago. Carrick's excited. Book's been read. You know how I feel about books.
Oh, we know.
Well, he also goes, man, you didn't see this in his shorthand. This is the very incantation in the spell scroll for wish.
Again, I can read literally any language, any written form of communication. I have the ability to read it. Let me just kind of put that out there for you. But I somehow couldn't read this.
No.
Sorry.
Actually,
It's
that
not
was
a real language. It's
a spoken word. Hold on, there's one for reading too.
Yeah, it's not like a language or anything like that. It's his own.
The spell doesn't decode secret messages in a text or glyph. That isn't part of a written language.
Like I said, it's in his personal shorthand that only he would know.
Well, Carrick wants to learn it, so I can keep using it after we kill him.
Well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of times, depending upon how long you take to decide what to do, that there'll be several rests that maybe you seem like a fast learner, that he can teach you the reading of the shorthand.
That'll be we'll call that action item B on my Carrick's private action item list. I have one more thing I need to finish. Hopefully before we do the final Strahd battle.
So this is going to be like Frodo in the Ring of Power. Carrick's going to get to the end and be like, Strahd, I won't kill you if you teach me your language.
Yeah. I'll be holding the book over like the lava pit. Throw it in. No, it's mine.
It's mine. My precious.
Speaking of which, I'm sure everybody sure is tired. Maybe we should just settle in for the rest of the day and let me finish reading my first book.
Can we rush in your tower? I mean, and I'm gonna go put the head back in the foot locker and be like, I'm gonna leave this for whatever you do with this.
Hey, did we decide who that guy was?
Yeah, he tells you what's it. His name is Yar, I think. He pumps him for Visconti lore and information and things like that. He does.
That's right.
He actually does have a name. Let's see. It's Jan. Excuse me. It's Jan.
So he used to speak with dead on Yon like repeatedly.
Yeah,
Yes.
because he's a Vistani member or something like that. That's right.
Awesome. I like this guy.
I forgot about that. He did mention that
I
earlier.
look at Graham and be like, why hadn't you done that yet? That's such a good idea.
I mean, they only tell you so much, and if you're the one that kills them, they won't talk to you. So
Oh, well, I mean, Baron will kill him for you.
What?
yeah, it said you were hostile to them in their when they were alive.
In this case, he wasn't. He was. Remember, he had implanted himself in the Vistani. So
Yeah, I understand. But I mean, we could use this as leverage. But I mean, I don't know what you do with it in after hours. So
well, he said, "Look, you can throw it in the bin. I don't plan on coming back here."
Me neither.
Yeah. Hopefully, we're on the train to home now. Hopefully.
So he says, yeah, he says, yeah, we can stay the evening. I can promise you, we probably don't want to spend a great deal of time here. The defenses of this castle and the lightning that rained down, while not unusual in the land to see magic like that, it may have garnered the attention of nearby inhabitants in these woods. So the sooner,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the Mad Mage's thing, isn't it? Didn't you say lightning is like his thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to have so much lightning resistance.
And so he says, yeah,
I was
there. We just can't get to it.
I was like one lightning and like resistant thing away from actually being healed by lightning magic.
Lightning's kind of like my god's name. What is your god's name? I'm looking at Homeboy.
oh, looking at Rickton.
What god do you serve? Who gives you your powers?
Let me see. I wonder if it says. I don't remember seeing that in his. Let's see. I'm scrolling in it. I don't see where it mentions that. I'm looking.
Hopefully he doesn't betray you for not being a loyal follower.
It does not say. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, it like I said, it specifically states in his character sheet. It says Rictavio has the following cleric spells prepared, but it does not say who he follows.
Who grants him the powers?
Yeah, it just says he's lawful good. Special equipment in addition to his sword cane. Rictavio wears a hat of disguise, a ring of mind shielding, and carries a spell scroll, raise the dead. He's a ninth level spell. Let's see here. Yeah, it does not say. It says he's got those cleric spells prepared, but it doesn't say who is in his bio.
What's his name? Ristavio?
Rick.
His real name is
Rudolph Van Richten.
Yeah, his real name's Rudolph Van Richten.
Well, since Druid is just intent on giving away his holy relic, we should say that it's the god that sword belongs to.
I would probably say it's more than likely enough, as close as you. I'm not real familiar with clerics and stuff like that. I only know my tiefling, but I would assume that with what's gone on in his life and all that he's lost and the despair he's lived on, he's probably pretty much given up on standardized religion, but not enough where he would curse the god to lose his power. So
It's supposed to be like a one-on-one connection, and that where the whole semblance of your power comes from. I mean, I'm just smart. That's how I get magic.
So yeah, there is a debate about that. Do you actually have to have a connection with a god to keep your cleric powers? And so there's a lot of people that say you don't actually have to have a connection with a deity. It can be bestowed upon you without you actually having faith or a connection in the god.
So you can still use their powers even if you're...
Yeah, because they've granted it to you, and that has nothing to do with you. That was the god's choice.
Well, that's cool. I kind of like that better than, let's say he's a fallen cleric.
And
Sure.
same goes for warlocks. You can have a pact with a patron.
I've got my I know my warlock stuff.
Yeah, because I was saying you can actually break the pact. Now you might have a, some sort of entity after you're mad at you about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can.
Oh, that totally happened. That totally happened in Critical Role.
Did it really?
Yeah. Yeah,
can
the
refuse.
warlock went against his god, and
Yeah, you can refuse to do that.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I've clicked on it. I mean, I'm just going off of what they've put in here in Roll20. I don't see. I can check the book, but I think yours.
The fandom website doesn't give him a deity, so
I like it. Fallen Cleric. It's official.
yeah. I mean, once you're granted the powers, they cannot be taken away, but you can be disbanded from the deity, and they won't grant you any more powers. Like if you decide to go from like lawful good to lawful like necromancy, you still keep your other spells.
Gotcha.
Cool.
All right, guys. I think this is where I'm calling it a night.
Yeah. Oh, good. That info, dope. I like having a roadmap. Yay.
Yes, it's nice.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, just for Carrick's side job, what time of day is it? And are we spending the rest of the day here?
We're definitely spending the rest of the day here.
Was it morning or was it evening? I can't remember.
If memory serves, it was midday. I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and.
Yeah, it was midday, but you said we spent several hours here. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be
because y'all left first thing from Valakai and went straight there, and then y'all have taken some time going up and down the tower, all exploring. And then you spent several hours with him. So yeah, I would say it's getting late in the afternoon.
So we're eating dinner and going to bed.
Yeah, you'll knock the head off the stove and grill some marshmallows or toast some marshmallows.
All right, guys, I'm out.
Later.
Bye, man. All right.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Well, Carrick's going to knock out as much of that tome of dexterity as he can.
Okay.
However many hours you'll give me, I don't care. I mean, I'm going to finish. It's not that I can't finish. It's just when am I going to finish? Because I've got 4 more days and I've got plenty of time to read that much. But if I can do it in one day, I'll still try and do it in one day.
Well, are y'all taking just a little short,
No,
long rest?
I guess we're going to settle in for the night on the tower, yeah.
All right, and then y'all will just wake up in that morning and decide which direction y'all are going to head out.
Yeah, we'll spend the evening brainstorming a plan with our new party member.
Okay.
Before we go to bed, just because we can.
Yeah, it'd be nice to rest one more day before we start this marathon.
Before anything happens, I'm gonna look down the shaft and cast Guardian of Faith at the base of it.
Okay.
It lasts for 8 hours, and anything that comes within its range takes 20 radiant damage. It's just like a pre-warning spell.
Okay.
It lasts for 8 hours. That's it.
All right.
I'll get it back at the end of the day.
I feel like you're kind of slow. How is like
Cool.
the
All right, guys.
All right. Good time.
Yep. I feel like we made some progress without going into combat. How about that?
Did that.
We did it. And now we have some adventuring to do.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it ain't going to be easy. I mean, we've got at least 5 things to do. Well, we have to kill Strahd. We have to do one thing. We have to do maybe 2 things. Then we have to kill Strahd. Then we have to do the 4th things, as many of those as we can. And then we have to go kill Strahd again.
Yep.
That's easy.
Exactly.
Totally easy. Yeah. We'll knock that out. Carrick's going to be flinging cantrips by the time we fight Strahd the second time.
That or you never know. Hey, you could always split the party.
Jesus. I would be more inclined to go to each town and recruit armies to do our bidding for us.
Have you seen the fighters? I don't think you got a lot to pick from.
Just picture, you know, like a coordinated attack. Carrick sending out instructions, you know, to each of the 4 sites while we're waiting at the castle, you know, and it all happens simultaneously, like in a big.
Here you go. Here is, just so you know, here is a reminder of who you have to pick from. Okay. The traveler in his last assault already took all the able-bodied ones, and they lost very badly. So good luck convincing.
That's a good point. That was only like a year ago, and he took like the SEAL team in with him, didn't he?
Yeah, and so you've got these wonderful-looking gents and ladies to pick from.
I was the little one with a skull on a stick, and the girl with the baby
I
doll.
was just about to say that the little kid is the meanest of them, the meanest looking one.
The lady in the bodice, she looks pretty evil. I think she could probably fling some spells.
I'm taking the little boy with the skull on a stick.
Yeah,
He saw some stuff.
He saw some stuff.
He's seen shit.
I like it.
And the guy in the middle with the mutton chops. You don't rock mutton chops unless you're a badass.
Oh yeah, and his hand is about freakishly 3 times the size of what it should be.
Oh yeah, that's a mutation or something.
Yeah, you call him a lady killer.
Call them dictators.
I don't guess Chris ever got his laptop working.
He said he was going to be in, and then he said he'd join when he got it to work. So
I didn't know if he I never saw a text from him that it.
So I'm still rocking half a screen on my avatar down here. I Googled it and they said
Yeah,
There-
me too.
there's an update or something.
Yeah, mine's been like that for the past like 5 sessions.
Yeah, they said they're pushing a new something. I saved the link. I'm going to go back and read it later.
Yeah,
But it's
I couldn't figure it out.
While we're not playing.
Hmm.
Anyway, well, I will talk to you all next time.
Like,
See you, bud.
Yeah, better.